Every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. The story follows a young girl named Lila who learns to find small moments of joy and hope in her challenging daily life. The narrative is heartfelt, relatable, and emphasizes resilience and optimism. The little light in every day. Lila was a 12-year-old girl who lived in a small village surrounded by green hills and a winding river. Her home was a tiny house with a leaky roof and creaky floors. Life wasn't easy for Lila and her family. Her father worked long hours at a factory far away, and her mother took care of Lila and her little brother, Milo, while sewing clothes to earn extra money. Some days there was barely enough food for dinner, and Lila often wore patched-up clothes to school. But even on the hardest days, Lila had a secret. She believed there was always something good to find, no matter how small. Day 1, the broken shoe. It was a rainy Monday morning, and Lila woke up to the sound of water dripping into a bucket in the corner of her room. The roof was leaking again. She sighed, knowing it would be a tough day. She put on her school uniform, but when she slipped on her shoes, one of them tore. A big hole appeared at the toe, and her sock peeked through. "Oh no," Lila groaned. "How am I supposed to walk to school like this?" Her mother heard her and came over. "I'll fix it tonight, Lila," she said, but her voice was tired. "Just wrap some tape around it for now." Lila felt embarrassed as she taped her shoe together. At school, some kids giggled when they saw her shoe. "Look at Lila's shoe," one boy whispered loudly. Lila's cheeks burned and she wanted to hide. The day felt heavy, like the gray clouds outside. During lunch, Lila sat alone under a tree in the schoolyard. She didn't feel like eating her plain bread sandwich. But then, a small sparrow landed nearby. It hopped closer, tilting its head as if it was curious about her. Lila smiled and tossed a crumb to the bird. It pecked at it happily, and for a moment, Lila forgot her broken shoe. The sparrow's tiny chirps felt like a little song just for her. That evening, Lila wrote in her notebook, a gift from her teacher last year. She called it her Good Things book. In it, she wrote, "Today was bad because of my shoe, but the sparrow made me smile. It felt like a friend." Day 2, the lost pencil. The next day, Lila's shoe was still taped, but she tried to ignore it. At school, her teacher, Mrs. Clara, announced a drawing contest. She said, "Draw something that makes you happy. The winner gets a new box of colored pencils." Lila loved to draw. She had one stubby pencil she used for everything, and the idea of new colored pencils made her heart race. She spent all day thinking about her drawing, a picture of the river near her house, sparkling under the sun. But when she got home and reached into her bag, her pencil was gone. She searched everywhere, under her bed, in her pockets, even in Milo's toy box. It was nowhere. Lila felt tears sting her eyes. That pencil was her only one, and now she couldn't even enter the contest. Milo, who was only 5, saw her crying. He toddled over and handed her a shiny red button he'd found on the ground. "For you, Lila," he said with a big grin. Lila looked at the button. It wasn't a pencil, but it was smooth and pretty, like a tiny treasure. She hugged Milo tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. That night she wrote in her Good Things book, "I lost my pencil today, and I was so sad, but Milo gave me a red button, and it made me feel loved." Day 3, the rainy walk. On Wednesday, the rain was heavier. Lila had to walk to school because her father needed the family's old bicycle for work. The taped shoe didn't hold up well, and by the time she reached school, her sock was soaked. Her teacher noticed and gave her a pair of dry socks from the lost and found box, but Lila still felt cold and miserable. During class, Mrs. Clara returned Lila's math test. She'd gotten a low score. "You need to practice more, Lila," Mrs. Clara said gently. Lila nodded, but inside, she felt like she was failing at everything. After school, the rain had stopped, and Lila walked home slowly. As she passed the river, she noticed a patch of wildflowers growing near the bank. They were bright yellow, like little suns against the muddy ground. Lila picked one and tucked it behind her ear. It made her feel a tiny bit brighter. In her Good Things book that night, she wrote, "Today was cold and wet, and I did badly on my test. But the yellow flower was so pretty, it felt like the world was saying, 'Don't give up.'" Day 4. The fight. Thursday started with an argument. Lila's mother was stressed because the sewing machine broke and they couldn't afford to fix it. Lila tried to help, but her mother snapped, "Just go to school, Lila. I don't need more problems." Lila left the house feeling hurt. She wasn't trying to make things worse. At school, she was quiet, barely listening to Mrs. Clara's lessons. Her best friend Sarah noticed and asked, "Are you okay?" Lila shook her head but didn't want to talk. Sarah didn't push her. Instead, she slipped a folded piece of paper into Lila's hand during recess. When she opened it, she saw a drawing of two girls holding hands under a rainbow. Sarah had written, "You're my best friend." Lila's heart warmed. She hugged Sarah and they laughed together for the first time that day. In her Good Things book, Lila wrote, "Mom was upset and I felt alone, but Sarah's drawing reminded me I have a friend who cares." Day 5. The surprise. By Friday, Lila was tired. The week had been full of small troubles, and she felt like she was carrying a heavy bag of worries. But when she got to school, Mrs. Clara had a surprise. "Lila, someone found your pencil in the classroom," she said, holding out the stubby pencil. Lila's eyes lit up. "Thank you," she said, clutching it tightly. She spent all afternoon working on her contest drawing. She drew the river, the wildflowers, and the sparrow from earlier in the week. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. That evening, her father came home early for once. He brought a small bag of sweet buns from the market. "A treat for my family," he said with a tired smile. Lila, Milo, and their parents sat together eating the buns and laughing as Milo got crumbs all over his face. In her Good Things book, Lila wrote, "This week was hard, but today I got my pencil back and we ate sweet buns as a family. It felt like a warm hug." Day 6. The contest. Saturday was the day of the drawing contest. Lila was nervous as she handed her drawing to Mrs. Clara. Other kids had used bright, new colored pencils, while Lila's was just gray and worn. She didn't think she'd win. The whole village gathered in the schoolyard for the announcement. Mrs. Clara held up the winning drawing, a picture of a big, happy family. It wasn't Lila's. She felt a pang of disappointment, but clapped for the winner anyway. Afterwards, Mrs. Clara called Lila over. "Your drawing didn't win, but I loved it," she said. "It shows your heart. Keep drawing, Lila." She handed her a small pack of colored pencils, not the contest prize, but a gift from her own supplies. Lila's smile was so big it hurt her cheeks. That night, she wrote, "I didn't win, but Mrs. Clara believes in me. The new pencils are like a promise to keep trying." Day 7. The new beginning. On Sunday, Lila woke up to sunshine. The roof wasn't leaking, and her mother's sewing machine was fixed, thanks to a neighbor who knew how to repair it. Lila spent the morning drawing with her new pencils, creating a picture of her family, the sparrow, and the wildflowers. In the afternoon, she and Milo played by the river. They skipped stones and laughed when Milo's stones sank right away. Lila felt light, like the worries of the week had floated away. That night, as she wrote in her Good Things book, Lila thought about the past week. Every day had something hard: broken shoes, lost pencils, arguments, and rain. But every day also had something good: a sparrow, a button, a flower, a friend, a bun, a teacher's kindness, a moment of laughter. She wrote, "Every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. I just have to look for it. And when I do, it makes the hard things a little easier to carry." Weeks later, Lila's habit of finding the good in every day grew stronger. she kept writing in her good things book, filling it with small moments that made her smile. Some days it was a warm meal. Others, it was a kind word from a neighbor or a new drawing she finished. One day, Mrs. Clara asked Lila to share her good things book with the class. Lila was shy, but she read a few pages. The other kids listened quietly, and some even clapped. "I'm going to try that," Sarah said. "I want to find good things too." Lila's book became a spark in her village. Other kids started their own good things books, and even some adults joined in. The village began to feel a little brighter as people shared their small joys: a ripe apple, a sunny day, a helping hand. Lila learned that life would always have hard days, but she also learned that even on those days, there was a little light waiting to be found, and that light was enough to keep her going. If you enjoy motivational and life lesson videos like this one, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to see daily videos, comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching.